US Open 2019. The biggest story at Pebble Beach was what didn't happen. Pebble Beach, you were told major championships are golf's grandest theater, though there are a handful of stages where the spotlight shines ever so brighter. Pebble Beach did not. It called for temerity and required fortitude, facilitated bravado, and exposed pretenders. Brooks Koepka, But the biggest story at the 2019 US Open was what didn't happen. The USGA, the governing body that runs this shindig, has been the prominent, if not the singular storyline in 3 of the past 4 US Opens from toasted greens to last year's gap. Preparing a course for the world's best is far from an enviable task and one easy to criticize, and in themselves, those incidents could be chalked as happenstance or aberration. In the aggregate, a fate the USGA took to heart. Bodenhammer, who grabbed the setup reins from USGA CEO Mike Davis this year, has been true to his word. Pebble's fairway dimensions at this US Open were demanding yet allowed for breathing room. The rough was gnarly, an observation seconded by the field. If players had it, it's fantastic, Zach Johnson, who the first round of USGA Japs last year, said on Saturday. Whatever they're doing, Tiger Woods shared a similar outlook, remarking the USGA did a great job of rewarding good shots with birdie opportunities. Compared to others, it wasn't just those who played well that echoed such sentiments. Justin Thomas, even Phil Mickelson, the man driven to insanity at Shinnecock and who's treated the USGA with the friendliness of a TSA screener, was effusive in praise. The traditionalists that like their US Opens painted black will correlate these points to the lower than usual scoring. Perhaps there's a bit, but the best description goes to Rory McIlroy, who articulated the specifics of what made Pebble a challenge. I think the greens are so small, and when it gets a little firm like this and they start to tuck pins in little corners, it's all angles, McIlroy said. You're trying to think, it just takes a little bit of concentration because there's some shots where you need to land the ball 10 yards short of the pin and some holes, like back into the wind, it might only be 3 or 4 yards. But you can't go. In short, Pebble Beach achieved that often chased but rarely captured ideal of proper setup. A setup. So what was different in 2019? According to Bodenhammer, it wasn't perfect. Tournaments that end, the USGA erred, rightfully so, on the side of caution, with a handful of players O'Keefe among them Jon Rahm and Graham McDowell wishing the gauntlet was tougher. Benign conditions, not that the USGA seems to mind. Just as critical, the week proved a détente between the players and governing body, providing hope their internecine battle may be coming to an end. It's worth nothing that, though reputations can be ruined in a day, it takes more than a week to repair them. The USGA, there are a lot of different opinions out there, Bodenhammer conceded earlier this week. We are better from Pebble Beach won't change the past. It did go a ways. Related slideshow best of 2019 US Open provided by Aman.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.